Thank you, choir. You have seen the back end of me for 4 decades. I appreciate you backing me up. Well, maybe Walton was smart enough to hire me just before New Year's in 1983 to start July 1st, 1984. If they were smart enough, they were also smart enough to hire Linda Fletcher in 1981. And Carol Ann Sproat back in March 1984. Carol Ann said I beat her because she had 35 years, and I have 40 and counting. I recall Linda having the Walton Youth sing on the Eric Nagler record. I recall the chancel choir singing at the Royal Winter Fair. And I recall those hugely successful, sold-out voices in the night, multiple night concerts in Brodie Hall. People were scalping tickets. Carol Ann, or the boss, as I called her, made sure that this place ran successfully every day through 2 major building programs. I think back to the 1990-91 project, and that was a huge leap of faith. Building in the winter, building in the midst of a war in the Middle East. Do you recall sometimes we didn't pay ourselves? I recall the cold winter. And Carol Ann had a temporary office which was composed of 4 clear plastic sheets. 1 little plug-in heater down where the current nursery is located. Those were good times, weren't they, CA? Walton has usually, when we've been free to do so, been smart enough to hire the right staff and raise up the right leaders over 40 years. You've heard that truism. In the end, it comes down to leadership. That's the core of most organizations, leadership. And this is what today is about. The congregation is celebrating the last 4 decades of consistent, productive, creative, and people-focused leaders by both our dedicated staff, multiple positions, and our lay leaders. We have such incredible lay leaders. Some of them, especially some of the committee chairs, are really volunteer, unpaid staff. It's the chairs over the years and the chairs currently of the standing committees of worship, outreach, property, trustees, finance, ministry and personnel, Christian development, stewardship, health and wellness, and council. There's also been the special committees, like the 1991 and the 2000 building addition chairs, the 2020 kitchen rental chair, the auction chair, the lay training committee chair, and many others who, along with the staff, week out and week in, run the church. The congregation has grown in size, facility, staff, programs, outreach, worship, and pastoral care over those 4 decades because of that joint leadership-focused team. Think back over 40 years. I mentioned the change of prime ministers. Well, between the 2 Trudeaus, there were many other prime ministers, many presidents as well. In 40 years, we've navigated beyond the issues of the local family of faith. There were Sunday commercial store openings began. There was a growth of Sunday sports, especially kids' soccer. The secularization and the changing cultural diversity of our society. The unlimited TV stations and streaming services on Sunday mornings to watch. The aging, especially of South Oakville and South Burlington. The skyrocketing housing prices. The growing distrust of religion. The gentrification of Bronte, the major numeric decline of the United Church of Canada as a denomination. Then you throw in the COVID pandemic and countless other challenges. Guess what? We're still here. After all those challenges, Walton is still here every week, worshiping, learning, and serving. Congratulate yourselves. What an achievement. How many other local churches in our Oakville, Burlington area have closed, amalgamated, or been put up for sale in recent years? So sad. Way too sad. Way too many. Other congregations have cut their staff, or their clergy now serves 2 congregations, or their hours have been greatly reduced. But Walton is still here. Walton cannot rest on the past 40 years. It cannot even rest on the present. This Sunday is very much about the ongoing vision, values, and beliefs of the congregation that has driven it, and as we move forward, next year is our 175th anniversary. And what is our vision? What is it that we're going to be about? We want to shape a positive future. We want to be a church of hope. We want to be a place of refuge and welcome. Hands up if you were here in 1984. Hands up if you were here in 1994. That includes the 84 group. Though I know there's people who've moved in and moved out and come back. You were here in 2004. And finally, 2014. Maybe you've been part of the 40-year journey in one way or another. There's some people who were on the team that called me here today. But maybe you've only been here for a few months. Yes, today we acknowledge a single spark of new leadership which began in July 1984. But that spark only helped light a raging, glorious blaze of so many other leaders, both lay and staff over 40 years. Some of those former leaders, some of those former staff are back here today, and thank you for coming. We pray that that winning dynamic that we have had over the years will continue uninterrupted into the future. Just for the record, I did not want this day acknowledged. I want to focus more on the first Sunday of May next year, the 175th of Walton. However, I was convinced by others that we needed to celebrate the good news of Walton. We need to realize that Walton is not a typical United Church. So many United Churches are struggling. They are really struggling. We're fortunately not in that position, But if we try to rest on what we've done in the past and what we're doing today, we can become in that position. Now, just for the record, I'm not retiring. Thank you. Today is merely a milepost in a lifelong journey of ministry. It's not the end. I'm healthy. I love what I do. Most importantly, I love the people I do it with. The staff, the lay leaders, and you, the people of Walton, the congregation. Research has shown that the average stay of a minister is between 5 and 7 years in North America. The same research shows that with every change of minister, you lose 10 to 15% of your regular worshipers on Sunday morning. I would say that would happen too with the change of significant staff, even with the change of significant leaders, lay leaders. Walton is not typical. The average stay of music directors, office administrators, Sunday school coordinators, youth leaders, and others. And we've had the innovative staffing, parish nursing, our tech position, our financial administrator roles. Even with caretakers, over the 40 years, we had 3 custodians who stayed a significant amount of time. You see, Walton holds up continuity, stability, consistency, and a positive, healthy working environment, and these are values we hold dear. It doesn't mean we don't have our differences. We do. But we try to work them out in private. We try to put the larger needs of the congregation over our own personal desires, agendas, likes and dislikes. You see, Walton has that rare servant leader mindset. There is this trend in the wider church that to see ministry as a job or a profession. It's not. It's a calling. It's a calling for anyone giving leadership in the church. We raise up and nurture leadership within our family of faith, if at all possible. Our junior choir director, for example, came through our choir program. Our music director came through our choir program. Val, I recall back when we had an intern, friend of yours, Claudia Adams, who told you to apply back in January 1996 to be our first ever paid part-time youth leader. You looked after the Walton youth on 3.9 hours a week. Now, full-time ministry coordinator, overseeing many staff positions, offering pastoral care of all ages, and creatively coordinating worship as well as leading most Sundays. But it's not just you. Other staff have grown in their roles because we love to nurture that. They've taken on additional responsibility. Stu and Gill, Allison, Wendy, and Craig. We started nursing, parish nursing here in 1990. And it has become the role model for many congregations. It helps define who we are. Now, earlier this year, the many local congregations met, and the facilitator wanted to know What makes each unique congregation what they are? What are their strengths? Here's the list prepared for the event. And I share it with you today because it talks about our distinct culture. Maybe plug into where you have been part of that, or you've been benefited by that culture. Walton has radical pastoral care based out of a pursuing of health and wellness. Walton has outstanding mainline music rooted in 3 choir programs, many soloists, instrumentalists, guests. Walton has invested major time, facilities, and funding into kids and youth programming, hugely. But we've also done that with adult education, for example, Bible study. We openly promote and welcome people getting married here, getting baptized here, having a service of memories here. Many of the people who are here today first came through the doors of Walton or connected with us because of one of those. As a congregation, we are Christ-centered, biblically based. Our outreach is about face-on-face helping, whether it's at the shelter here in Oakville or helping in Hamilton. Over the years, we've had excellent stewardship of our finances and our building. We've been blessed with a multitude of donors whose generous gifts have made possible the mission and the ministry. We also have a talented group of people who've not only maintained but improved this building. The week before last, someone in the community knocked down one of our lights on a post out here. 2 members dug it up, repaired it. It's in place this morning. Walton is blessed because we're at the intersection of 2 major roads. Now, some people say, but we have Terry Fox closure affecting us today. In 2 weeks, we have a marathon. We have 2 Legion services a year that affect us. But we've got an incredible location, and we have 90 free parking spaces, which in Bronte are like gold. Walton is accessible. We put an elevator in 1991. We're air-conditioned, though I think the amount of people in here may be trying our capacity. We have a well-kept, a well-looking, a good-looking facility, and we have that new modern commercial kitchen, which is so essential. Walton is also blessed that we do not sit 400 or 500 or 600 people. Legally, we can sit 230. $223. I wouldn't want to be in trouble with the fire department. And it's a cozy sanctuary. Curved pews, theater style with a slanted floor, and padded pews and great acoustics. Those affect the feel of our worship. Another thing that makes Walton what it is, the Manse. We live 3 blocks away. 3 blocks away. I'm not a commuter from another community, from another area code. Living and working and going to school and shopping and going to the bank in the community makes a difference. And the other staff live in various parts of Oakville and Burlington, in the other communities we serve, because we really are a Burlington church. We just happen to be located in Bronte. Walton invested significantly in technology. Before COVID, we had the website, we had the incredible social media. That's only got better. But we invested in technology for virtual services, midweek check-ins. And those tens of thousands have been worth it. Walton has an informal dress code. In fact, we don't have any dress code. You can come in your suit, you can come in your shorts. I spoke about that last week. Walton's services start promptly on time. They usually end 60 to 65 minutes later. Today may be an exception. But we don't have 2-hour services. We don't start late because people have lives to plan. Well, we also have the best coffee hour around, and the coffee and treats are pretty good. I mentioned the interns a couple of times, and after the interns, these last 12 years, we have had 3 regular preachers adding to our monthly services, bringing their talents, their gifts, their different perspectives, their voices. And that's been a blessing. You wouldn't want to hear me every week. So we need the blessing of those other people's gifts. Now, over the years, other ministers and other congregations have come to Walton and said, show us how to create Walton. We're really struggling. We're really struggling in our congregation, and we want to create Walton. We prefer to do it in the next 6 months. And we want one silver bullet. But it's not. Walton is about doing a couple of dozen things the right way, every day, every year, every month. It's about doing those right things with hard work. The staff, the lay leaders, we have a strong work ethic. And we have followed those goals and objectives. We don't focus on causes. We focus on people. We focus on personal needs, not issues. We put people over politics or positions. We make this about worshiping God in community, not personal agendas. Personally, I thank my family of 4 generations, my immediate family, those who do or have lived in the manse, but those of my extended family, and there are several of you here. You've supported Walton, you've supported myself these last 40 years. The gift of being able to raise 2 girls in the congregation was a real blessing. And not every clergy family is supportive as strongly as my family has supported me. So what about the future? What are the goals and the vision? Keep on keeping on. We need to continue doing the things we do successfully, and we need to build on them. Of course, adapt to the present culture, the present technology, the present trends. But we also need to realize what you realize every day when you go shopping. Inflation, shrinkflation, price gouging. It hits the church in a significant way on a larger scale. We have to buy services, we have to buy products. So we need to be aware that we need to increase givings and fundraising and rentals. And we're doing that. We need to realize that we have to decrease our fixed costs and reduce our discretionary spending. And we're doing that. Now, long before the flooding of the Walton Church in Mance, and maybe you haven't heard that, but that incredible storm on July 15th, 16th, the Mance basement had 6 inches of sewage, and you could walk in our new kitchen where the beautiful new lights are, and you could have had a shower. But before that hit, we did and decided to do major work outside the building. COVID had delayed masonry repairs, ad-height painting, cleaning and stripping halls, and filling the cracks in our highly used parking lot. But no one had planned that we would have this flood. Now, after we pay the $5,500 deductible on both buildings, we don't know how much of insurance will cover the damage done. We also have to do upgrades to make sure we don't have future flooding, because there will be other climate events. So that's a current, present, and a real consideration that we didn't expect at this joint, this part of our history. Now, if you drive up Bronte Road, past Rebecca, you look on the left side. Do you know where I'm talking about? The former Church of the Nazarene. It's a very dangerous intersection, by the way, so don't look too long. But if you see, a developer bought it a number of years and the building has just sat there. It's not been maintained. It looks like something you might see in parts of Detroit, not in Bronte. But it reminds us of constant care and attention to maintain the Walton facilities, but also the congregation. We cannot rest on the past or the present. A prominent Bronte community leader who's not a Walton member wrote us a couple of weeks ago, and he called Walton Memorial a Bronte icon. It has hosted so many Bronte-related meetings over the years. It's like our community meeting or gathering place. Help us maintain that. Thank you for being here. I know people have traveled from Peterborough and Grimsby and Port Dover and Niagara-on-the-Lake and Markham and many, many other places to be here today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope that I will be able to greet you, that we will be able to greet you. Thank you for being part of Walton's history, but thank you for being part of Walton's bright future. Thank you.